Hello and welcome to Lesson 8, Constructed Response Skills. In order to complete this lesson, we need to have some sort of a text to base the lesson on. So we're going to read a short memoir called Fireflies by Delia Reed. She closed the book, placed it on the table, and finally decided to walk through the door. The light in the waiting room had cast a slight green cold buzz, but here the tones were warmer. Wood paneling, one small lamp with an amber shade, low shadows. Laura, please come in, sit down. The ceiling was very high. She couldn't even sense where the walls ended and an angle began. No window, deep brown carpet, wood desk, perhaps out of their old school. She began to feel sick and small, like she was a child again in the cabin by the lake, buffeted by a dark night of wind. She clenched her fists in her lap, digging the fingernails into the palms of her hands until she was forced to take a quick breath and look up. It was sad to see how much Paul had changed since high school. Those eyes were still there, but now he wore thick, smudged glasses and several strands of hair had fallen, unkempt, revealing bald scalp. She tried to remember two things at once. Had there been a hunting accident? Were there different names for male pattern baldness? The nausea rose up and anxiety prickled across her skin. She tried the fingernail trick again, but her body had stopped responding. I'll need to ask you several questions for the death certificate. We can take each one slowly. Don't feel you have to answer quickly or rush through. She was sure he was married. To Mindy Burton, she thought she remembered, and they have two boys who were doing really well at school and sports. Wrestling, maybe? Basketball. Alopecia, something genetic. She couldn't remember where her mom had been born. Somewhere in Florida with a fancy-sounding name. Venice, Paris, Naples, but it actually wasn't fancy, and she couldn't remember. What does it matter now? We list here that she was wearing pajamas and a diaper. A diaper, that got her. She tried to picture if the diaper was like a Depends pull-on they sell at the drugstore, or if it was an actual adult diaper made for those people who dress up as babies. Infantilism. She preferred thinking of her mother dressed up as an adult baby, maybe with those special safety pins. Yellow plastic duck, blue boat, king size, ruffled bonnet. Not on a gurney, with the awkward velvet green bedskirt from the funeral home, but standing, wearing an adult diaper, laughing about her bonnet. Who would be the other adult babies in the room? Jack, maybe. Lucas, definitely, making her laugh at his thick gray chest hair. We have to warn you that not everything burns. Sometimes people find bits of teeth, larger pieces of bone. It can be upsetting. Would you like to be there? She did not want to be there. She wanted to be far away, on an island surrounded by blue water, pushing her toes through white sand. She wanted to be where time and seasons did not exist, where there was no outside or inside, where water and air and sand met, merged, and disappeared. She just wanted to be. She wondered if it were night yet, and if the cremations happened here, maybe beyond those warm walls, with sparks flying up out into the black sky, like fireflies. She liked that thought. A quick orange spark and then gone. You should also know that the box will be heavy. It'll weigh about 5 pounds. I remember your mom. She was a tall lady. A lady. A lady baby. And now she is gone. So let's break that story down a little bit. It's very heavy. It's very sad. So who is Laura? Laura is a woman who just lost her mother. Her mother passed away. Paul is the mortician. Laura remembers Paul from high school, and she remembers how much he changed since then. What happened to Laura's mother? She died. And they are now in a funeral home arranging for her final remains. But why is Laura imagining her mother as a baby? That's the confusing part here. When they found Laura's mother's body, she was wearing an adult diaper. Laura is trying to distract herself from the thought that her mother is dead. She'll think about absolutely anything but the questions that the mortician is asking her. When she needs to answer something as simple as, where was your mother born? She just goes off on some tangent about how the town sounded fancy, and she starts thinking about Paul and who Paul married and things like that. She starts thinking about his male pattern baldness. She'll think about anything, absolutely anything. She cannot bring herself to think about the fact that her mother has passed away. It's understandable. She just wants to distract herself. So what does she start to think of? Her mother dressed up like a baby, among other things. So my question to you, because we're practicing constructed response skills, is the title of the memoir suitable? Why or why not? Okay, so imagine this is a question on an exam. Would you know how to answer it? We're going to practice. And please keep in mind, if your mother died, would you want to think about it? Or would you try to distract yourself from the pain? The title of this memoir is Fireflies. Remember the part of the passage when she was thinking about fireflies. It was when she was thinking about the cremation. Cremation is when a person's body is burned and then the ashes are kept in an urn usually. So when the mortician is talking to Laura about the fact that sometimes not everything burns, you might find bits of bone and teeth and it can be upsetting, Laura doesn't focus on that. She thinks, well, what does it look like? Do they do the cremation at night? Do the sparks go flying up into the night sky like fireflies? Again, Laura wants to think about anything that is calming, comforting, anything to not have to think about the fact that her mother has just passed away. So to answer this question, is the title of the memoir suitable, we are going to RACE to the best possible response. R stands for reword or restate the question. A, answer all parts of the question. C, cite evidence from the text. And E, explain how that evidence supports your answer. When we race to the best possible response, it doesn't mean that we're rushing. It means that we're using the RACE strategy. Reword, answer, cite, explain. So let's do this together. The R in race. We need to reword the question and make it into a statement. So for example, if someone asked you what color is the sky, you wouldn't just say blue. I need you to reword that question into the form of a statement. You would say, the color of the sky is, and then the answer is the next step, blue. So let's reword the question as part of our answer. Is the title of the memoir suitable? Why or why not? We reword this. The title either is or is not suitable. It's just that easy. There's only one of two answers to this question. When we use the A in race answering the question, it's important to remember that often a constructed response question is looking for you to show an understanding of a term in order to answer the question. So you need to answer all parts of the question. The question in this example is the title of the memoir suitable, why or why not? There are two parts to this question. You're telling me if it's suitable or not, and then you're explaining why or why not. Remember, you got to answer all parts of the question. Next, you need to cite some evidence. Most constructed response questions will require you to support your answer with details from the passage. This can be done in a few ways, either a direct quotation from the passage, a paraphrase, which is when you take information and put it into your own words. Maybe you're using a specific reference to something. But a lot of students want to use their own opinion. Do not do that. Stick with what you're given. Work within the parameter of the passage itself. The second you start to say, well, I think, you're going to start giving opinions there. Next is the E in race, the final step. After you've cited evidence, you need to explain how or why that evidence supports your answer. Sometimes students will just pick a quote and throw it in there, but that is contextually irrelevant. You can't just say, well, because the text says this, that's why my answer is right. You need to explain not only why you picked that quote, but how it supports your answer. So let's put it all together. Is the title of the memoir suitable? Why or why not? I think that the title of the memoir is absolutely suitable. I'm going to cite some support here. Laura refuses to focus on the task at hand of answering questions about her mother's death. Laura's rambling, wandering mind is just as off-topic as the title of the memoir. You could say it that way, or you could support this answer a different way. You could say that Laura imagines the spark of her mother's cremation looking like fireflies in the night sky. Well, how does that evidence support our answer? Those fireflies are the one thing Laura likes to think about. So this one thing she accepts fits as the title of the memoir. So there you go. There's all sorts of different ways that you can support this. Answer to the question. I do think the title of the memoir is suitable. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope the story didn't make you too sad.